You know, it's very hard to watch a disaster twice. It really is. Especially when you see it happening. You've seen it before and you know where it's going. And you sometimes see that in the life of churches. You look at a church that's apostatized and you see how it fell perhaps in the 19th century, how it moved into unbelief, how it flirted with worship and all. You see it. And then suddenly you see the same thing happening again. You see, and it's like a car crash again. You know what's happening. You know where it's going, but it's as though it never happened before. They say history doesn't repeat itself. But as the man said, well, it certainly rhymes. It's just the same thing happening again. I'm sure Noah did say, listen to God. God told us to disperse. But no, the impetus is there. But these things are easily done when you have a strong charismatic figure. If people drift from God, then all that's needed is a strong charismatic figure just to accelerate that process. Once you've got that, it just really grows arms and legs. I sometimes fear for ourselves politically and religiously. We're in a bad way both politically and religiously. But the kind of bad way we're in is not as bad as it could be. All it needs is somebody of real power to yank it powerfully in the wrong direction. There's a vacuum. We're losing our ability to resist things. We're losing our ability to understand things. I often wonder what would happen if we were seriously invaded by a people, if we had to go to war. Have we got the mind to go to war? Have we got the strength? Have we got something to fight for? Have we got the ideology to make us a people who would resist? Could we honestly stand for the defense of liberty and nation for God's sake? Could we stand for a church? Could we shed blood like the Covenanters did? Could we go to prison like they did? Could we go to the scaffold like they did? Could we? We could, of course, bat that off by saying we would be dependent upon grace at the time. Fair enough, we'd be dependent upon grace at the time, but I would warn you and warn me against batting it off that easily. Have I got the strength of conviction and purpose and the zeal for God that would do that? Wherever the dissenting voices were, they didn't work. We read of nobody being persecuted or killed because they didn't die. Noah still lived. But if he spoke, he's not heard. So I don't know whether the church was already seriously declined in these 4 generations or not. I don't know. My guess is that it possibly was. But that's the problem too. It's not just that the rejection of God was widespread and easy, but it was quick. In the space of 200 years, the thinking had completely changed. But those of you who are, let's say, 70 or 80 just now, you can see how quickly people have changed. Do you almost recognize the city that you're in from what it was 50 years ago? Possibly not. Things do change quickly. Just rewind 200 years from the Tower of Babel and you've only got a handful of people in the world. And they're all pretty sure what went wrong. And they're all pretty sure what would be necessary to keep it right. With the exception of Ham and Canaan and his family. But within 200 years, everybody's thinking like Ham and Canaan, and nobody's thinking like Noah and Shem. Astonishing, really.